Welcome back. Today, I have a good friend, a good client, and an overall good dude. His name is Mike Duckworth. He's been a client of mine since we just go way back. 16, 17, 18, 19, not 16, 17, 18, 19. And as we started this, he was just a client. And then over the years, it's become more of a client, a friend, a person to talk anything and everything with. I mean, we talk about relationships, we talk about business. We probably talk mostly about business more so than training or anything else. But the cool thing about our relationship is as over the years, he's grown and changed, and so have I. And so I haven't seen you since, what year was that when Whitney and I came to Chicago?
It was 2019.
2019. So Mike.
4th of July.
4th of July.
2019. I know that because you called me on the 3rd and said, hey, I need a place.
Yeah.
I made it happen. Though.
So that's true. So that's exactly right. Mike, I'm not going to say too much more other than the fact that been a client of mine since, we'll say 2017-ish, and hell, started as what, men's physique on the
Men's physique.
Basically just looked like maybe a basketball player that liked to work out, and now he's got his dress clothes on. But anyways, he's come a long way. Mike's got a unique story, profession, and he still makes training a top priority, and it affects his business, it affects his relationship, it affects his well-being mentally and physically. And so we're going to talk a little bit about all this, but after introducing him, I'm going to let him tell his whole story of his real estate niche that he is in. I know everyone's trying to talk real estate, learn real estate, and all that. So happy to have him here. He's come in town for 4 days, which is totally out of his element, and that's great. So I've kind of got him one-on-one, and we'll talk, and when we talk, it's for hours at a time. And so it's just been a great chance to have him on here to just get to talk and divulge and just get to say the things that we talk on the phone face to face. And so, Mike, explain to the viewers and the people listening your niche of real estate, how you came into that, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, just a quick correction. I wasn't a basketball player that liked to work out. I was a wide receiver that was able to go across the middle. It's two different builds.
But you look like a basketball player. I'm joking.
I wasn't a basketball player.
I'm joking.
But Turner's right. We've known each other for 6 years now, and just like what you said, our relationship has evolved over the years tremendously. I mean, in the beginning years, it was just bodybuilding and what calories and what the next meal is. And honestly, now we talk for, I think our record's like two plus hours.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's not like we did that once. Every phone call usually is finishing with one of us realizing we got to wake up in a few hours, or someone's significant other giving them a nice little shot in the arm saying, who are you talking to so long? So
yeah, exactly.
And then we had this realization that, oh shoot, we're, coach-client relationship, send me the plan. Like, that's the afterthought. We've progressed so far, and with whatever you do in life, bodybuilding is a great prerequisite to that. You as a coach, I've seen you evolve tremendously, and I'm sure you said, me as a client, same thing as well. You learn discipline, you learn how to structure your day, and with that you can do a lot of different things. My company is called Home, and I've already have to put money in the jar because our tagline is, we're not a company, we're a family. So whenever we say the C word, as we call it, we got to put some money in. So I already slipped once, but Home is an affordable housing provider in the Chicagoland area. I started doing Airbnb about 6 years ago, right before I met you. It was a hotel in your house. It was people coming in for festivals and concerts, staying for a night, staying for a week. As the business grew and evolved, people were reaching out saying, hey, you do a great product, you do a great service, the same values I felt for you as a coach. Hey, if the person's doing a good job, if they're giving you good value, they're going to want more. They're going to want to stay longer. Eventually, one unit turned into 2, turned into 10, turned into 15, 20, and we decided, hey, let's do more of a long-term model. Instead of having people come for one night and then having all the logistics of bringing in the next person, doing all the laundry, doing all the cleaning, if we can just keep people happy for a long time, that'll make our job a lot easier.
Right.
And I'm sure as a bodybuilding coach, that's your goal, right? Sign them up and keep them happy. And
Absolutely.
A client that's 6 years or 5 years or however long it is much better than putting all the work in for someone to come in and a week later saying, never mind, I'm not going to use your service.
Right.
So we transitioned into.
Hold on, before we go any further, I want you to walk someone through one of your houses, and I mean like a house in Chicago. Explain the setting, and then walk me through the house, kinda. You know what I'm saying?
At present moment, we're tapping into almost every different option. So anything from a shared room, which is, if you've seen the movie Step Brothers, you got your older brother up top. Y'all do karate. No power tools though.
Right.
We still have that room place. You get your private room. So the house itself is shared amongst everybody.
Okay.
We have someone that oversees it. We call it an RA, just like college. If you've ever stayed in dorm, they're still a student, right?
Right.
But this college says, hey, you're one of the more responsible ones. Just make sure, the peace is kept. There's no fights. If you got to change a light bulb or whatever, take care of that. We do the same thing. So we have someone take care of the cleaning, the kitchen, the bathrooms, all the common areas. We make sure everything's stocked and ready to go. And you have either your own private room, or for people looking for a more budget-friendly option, you're younger, maybe you're single, you're by yourself, or we've had some people that are like, hey, I'm young, I'm a hustler, I want to save as much as I can, I don't want to pay money for rent, I want to work 14 hours a day and build myself up.
And just have a place to crash.
Right. You got the Wi-Fi, we have Wi-Fi in every property, it's the fastest one you could possibly get. We have the kitchen that's stocked. We got hot showers and everything. It's literally a place to sleep, a safe place to sleep.
Right.
Wake up, shower, have breakfast, and get back out there.
So, I know the answer to the question, but do you prefer the short term or do you prefer the long term? They both have their pros and their cons, but and now explain short term meaning the night.
Yeah.
Long term meaning the week, the month.
Long term is as long as they're happy. We do what's called a weekly program, and that's like levels 0 and 1, right? Above that, we work with Section 8. We work with different programs in the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago to help people find housing.
Okay.
For example, we worked with a group called Paw Salvation, which is if you're homeless and you have a pet. Most people don't realize this, but the shelters don't allow you to bring your pets in.
I didn't know that.
For those of you and most people, you don't even think about that.
Right.
I mean, when you think about it, you're like, well, that makes sense, but you don't realize, I'm sure if you've had a dog or a cat you love your pet.
Right.
For those that know me, I have a cat. I got multiple cats, but what'd you call him earlier?
What, your cat?
My road dog or something? Or?
Yeah, Peanut?
Peanut, yeah. So I actually used to stay in one of my properties, so I am a product of the system.
Right.
I had an apartment. I had a 2-bedroom apartment. At the time I was driving Uber, I was trying to maximize my income. I was trying to get ahead. The only way to get ahead in life is to put more in than you're taking out, right?
Right.
So I realized, you know what? I got a 2-bedroom apartment. I'm going to rent out the second room. Booked right away. That turned into me saying, okay, well, instead of renting a 2-bedroom apartment, let me get a 5-bedroom. Let me get a 6-bedroom.
And now as you did that, what I was going to say is, did you realize you could make money and so then you just said, I'm going to go rent my own place, or did you stay in the same place that you rented for an extended?
I stayed there. I basically played musical chairs.
Right.
So I stayed in one of the rooms at my first house, got the machine going,
Right.
and then I went to the next place. Got that going while still checking in at the first one.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
fall too far off, everything
Goes to shambles.
goes to shambles.
Right.
So I got back in, 1 turned into 2, turned into 3, and that's how you essentially grow.
So it's kind of like in a sense, not like coaching, but at the same time, you're managing a 4-bedroom house, which could have 2, 4, 6, could have 8 people in it. I don't know. How does that work? Like, could you bring, like, if I say, hey, I'm booking a room, does my girlfriend get to come? Or are these all solo people?
It's up to you. I mean,
do you charge more?
Usually we charge
using more water.
I mean, we charge for the bed essentially. So we do queen size beds. We used to have queen over queen bunks,
right?
Which, if you can,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's like one company that sold them, and I'd be willing to bet I bought all of them. So
right.
But if you have a room full of 4, I mean,
that's tight.
There's a lot of single moms, that are down in their luck. They got 2 or 3 kids. They're working 2 or 3 jobs, and they just need something to kind of get back on their feet. We didn't do any leases, no down payments, no deposits, so it's a pay-as-you-go kind of thing.
Right.
It's just like a Spotify or a Netflix where you're paying for your first and last installment.
Right.
So for us, it'd be the first and last week. Then every week you have a choice. Turner, if you like it, you pay for the next week. If not, you either let me know, hey, it's my last week, and you ride it out.
So you just said a single mother. Does that mean it would be the mother and her kids?
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
And there's no prerequisite requirement. It could be
right.
Mom and her mother or the kid's grandma.
Right.
It could be boyfriend, girlfriend. It could be 2
boyfriend.
Kids studying.
Makes sense.
It could be whatever they want.
Makes sense. That's to me. That's like we're in this Airbnb age, and obviously everyone is trying to make as much money off of that as possible. But that combination niche has always been extremely interesting for me. So I wanted to have Mike on, obviously, and talk all things. And I say this all the time: we're in the era of the entrepreneur, is what I like to think of it as. And everyone out. A lot of people that I try to associate with they're on their hustle, they're on their grind, they're in every direction. How can I make this more prosperous or build something bigger? And so
I'll cut you off right there. Time. The commodity everyone is selling right now is time.
Yeah.
Amazon can get something to your front door in 4 hours. Time.
Yep. We can get something out here the same day.
Same day.
Out here.
Is it the best quality? Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
But it's the quickest.
And I don't think everything.
Let me ask you a question, Turner. Let me cut you off. You're at a bar, you need a ride. Who do you call?
Uber.
What are you buying? Is that the best car you can get?
Right.
It's time.
Yeah.
3 minutes, boom, it's there.
Yeah.
Tied to your card. That's the commodity. For anyone growing a business, look at Airbnb, look at Uber, look at Amazon, look at Walmart home delivery. Time.
But do you notice that, like, and the reason I call it an era is because we're going through all these different eras where, like, you're, not to go too deep into your childhood or anything, but like, your parents didn't think like that. They thought like going to their job every day from whatever time it was to whatever time they got off, and then coming home, and that was, they're raising kids too, but like, they didn't think like we're thinking right now.
Not at all.
And to me, we were having this conversation in the truck earlier. This has been a huge pill that I'm having to swallow. And it's like, when you're dealing with people, I like to think people think like me, right? Because I think I'm always right. I know I'm smart enough to know I'm not always right, but I do believe most of the time I got my head on straight about how things should be. And so when you're dealing with other people, whether it's your brother, whether it's your teacher, whether it's your ex-girlfriend, when you can sit back and differentiate between people who are immature and people who are lazy and people who are hustlers, and there's a bunch of different things, but the person, so for instance, I'm gonna consider Mike a hustler. When I'm thinking about Mike and what decision he's gonna make the decision that the hustler's gonna make. When I'm dealing with my little brother, I'm thinking, well, my little brother, he's my little brother. He's immature and he's young and he's a kid. So his first instinct is to go to the immature, young kid decision. And he's not going to think like me. And I'll take a lot of stress off myself when I realize not everyone's going to think like me. And I know that I'm not always right. But if you go ahead and preset the situation with, well, you're dealing with someone that's immature or someone that's lazy, they're not going to think like you. And we were having this discussion about employees being lazy. And so, number one, you don't want lazy employees. But when you're thinking as a business owner, someone that's trying to think 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of everyone, and then you're putting these responsibilities on other people, whether it's doing something mature or doing something and not being lazy. If this person is a lazy person, they're always going to go to the lazy out first versus thinking logically. So I like to always put myself in a position to think logically first, even though I might not make the first decision, the quickest decision. I'm going to always make the logical decision. What do you think about that?
I think that's dead on of how the older generation used to think. My grandma, my parents, their advice to save money was to cut coupons.
Yeah.
Right? To go to this store to buy the meat and that store to buy produce. Now you got this thing on your spiral notebook right here. I got one right here. It's called an iPhone, smartphone. Right? We need content. It's there right away. We look something up. Speed is always going to be the thing. And with employees, time is still the critical component. There's so many ways right now to grow a business. You can have virtual assistants. I've used them. I've employed people all over the world. I have people in different time zones, different continents, different countries that are servicing my guests in Chicago while I'm here in Tennessee, and they're doing a great job.
Right.
Because I thought outside the box. The old school wisdom would be to, post now hiring signs, have a brick and mortar store.
Right.
My office is this.
Right.
As long as I have a phone and a phone charger, I'll be okay.
Right.
And any problem you have, identify it, find a way to recreate it. If it's something that happens all the time, that's the component that really separates the hustler from someone who's going to be in that frustration loop. My first Airbnb, someone came in, first thing they called me and said, hey, what's the Wi-Fi password? And I told them what it was, and they typed the password in. Next guest, same thing, what's the Wi-Fi? Within 2 days, I had laminated door signs on every bedroom door that said, welcome so-and-so, here's your room number, here's the name of the room, here's the SSID, here's the password. Some people would have done that over and over and over again for years.
Right.
And the running joke would be, oh my God, it's Christmas, I gotta make sure my phone's on in case someone doesn't have, solve the problem preemptively.
Right.
I used to give out keys, right? When you get there, I'll meet you. I'll give you a set of keys.
Right.
When you leave them on the coffee table.
Yeah.
Leave them in the dish.
Did they ever do that?
Well, 6 people leave. You got 4 sets of keys, and everyone swears on their mom's life they were one of the 6. So now you got 2 sets of keys missing. You got people coming in 3 hours. Now you got to go to Home Depot and copy 4 sets of keys.
Right.
Just like that, within a very little amount of time, I said, this is going to keep happening. This is not a one-off problem.
Right.
People are forgetful. They're going to throw them in their pocket, leave, and there's no ill intent on it. I don't think people are like, this Mike guy, I saw his picture, I don't like him. His cat Peanut meowed a lot, I'm just going to take his keys.
Right.
There's no ill intent, but it's a problem that you can foresee is going to keep happening.
Right.
So I went out, I got digital doorknobs. Didn't even know they existed at the time. Actually, I did a fitness show. This was 2016. Was it? Yeah, right before I linked up with you, I was in Jersey. I was in just outside of New York. I forget the town's name. I'm trying to think of the town, but went there, got there super late, like 11 o'clock at night. There was a door code for the front door. You type it in, the door opens, and there was a door code for the bedroom door. I was like, this solves all my problems.
Right.
So the host actually lived in the house. He comes home at 3 a.m. I was still up. He heard my television on or whatever, so he stopped in and said hi. And to this day, he probably thinks I had some problem because eyes wide open. I'm like, you got to tell me where you got these from, man. These are great. This will solve all my problems. I never got to demand someone to mail keys back or go run, because that was part of our process.
Right.
Get there exactly at checkout, and the first thing you do is count the keys.
You had to be there.
Someone had to count them, because here's the thing: if check-ins, like hypothetically, say checkouts at 10, check-ins at 3. First, you go to identify missing keys. Then, oh shoot, we don't have them. Now we got to grab another set, go copy them, right? Come back, put them in the little ring, put the color, because we had different, the red keys the front door, the green keys the unit door, or whatever. And just seeing that was like, oh, this is going to solve all of our problems.
Right.
So on the flight back, I was looking up vendors, already shooting off emails. Hey, I'm so-and-so from Chicago. I got this many units. Like, give me a bulk price on this many doorknobs. But that's how you solve problems nowadays.
Right.
It's not about every problem that exists. Like, you have the ability to either find a solution for it or find somebody else, like delegate it out to somebody else.
Yep, and you got to pay them.
If people call me after hours, I said, you know what, I can't be up at midnight answering, miscellaneous questions.
Right.
But I also, like I just said, time is money. The quickest one to solve a problem usually gets it.
That's right.
I mean, think of a criminal defense lawyer, right? You get a DUI, 2 o'clock in the morning. When are you most likely to make an impulse purchase for that lawyer?
Right then.
Like 2:15 when you get home and realize, oh shoot, I better get somebody.
Right.
Most criminal defense lawyers have a phone answering service that'll literally answer the phone call, take your information, and if you want to do it, they'll take your payment right there.
Right.
So when your customer is ready to buy, you have to be available.
Absolutely.
You try your best to fit them into your mold. You try to preemptively answer as many questions before they get asked over and over again.
Right.
Whenever you get the same question 2 or 3 times, make a process.
That's right.
Answer it preemptively. And that's what's allowed me to go from one unit running around, opening doors, telling people Wi-Fi, to being able to expand.
When you, when you had multiple units and you were you had multiple units doing the key system?
No.
No.
I wouldn't do that.
Well, I was just saying,
No. Well, we had multiple. That was one property, but each room was its own unit.
Right. All I was saying is
that
creates a problem when you got check-in, check-out time, check-in, check-out time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think most everyone's kind of got the idea of Mike's niche. What do you call it? I mean, real estate investment endeavor. That's how he makes a living, and he's always, like I said, he drove Uber, probably has delivered pizza too at the same time. I mean, I wouldn't put anything past Mike. Just even his whole system, from the way he does his food, the way he does, and I did want to touch on that, where we'll talk for 2 hours, and about probably the first 2 minutes or the last 2 minutes of that conversation, we'll say 5 minutes of that conversation is about bodybuilding.
If that,
what we're talking bodybuilding, whether it's your plan or how your training's been lately, or you know what I'm saying, or something bothering you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it all ties back into a culture. It all ties back into something that I say and something that he says all the time, is about being contagious. And what that means is, it means exactly what it sounds like. Like, someone around you was sick and you got sick with them. And so, as sick as the things that we think about are, I mean, we try to be contagious to where it's the people, it's our family, even though most of the time they think we're sick. So they're like, he'll grow out of that or whatever. Or it's our friends, or it's our loved ones. And so, I mean, nowadays with social media, you can be contagious on the social media that you're filming, and then someone else see that make their day, that change the tone of their life at the time. And we were just having a conversation about, it's so crazy. When we talk about this, you like to think that you're talking about some people in your area that you see on a daily basis, but we're talking about how a relationship between Mike and I has grown into something that other people on the internet see, that we don't know or do know or learn to become a friend with, and they're getting inspiration from something else that we just were talking about, whether it's I just started talking and then Mike jumped on, and or vice versa. And the shirt that I'm wearing and another, like I've got the cult leader, and that's kind of the same thing as what 4 a.m. is, and I'm gonna let him talk about that. But you're just stepping outside of your comfort zone and everyone else's comfort zone to try to bring a product or be a product of something better, and just pushing the envelope. I think someone messaged me the other day and said, they were like, man, you're a monster, your goals, but the things that you say hit home, and it's like, the more I tell myself these things, this is the person telling me, the more I tell myself some of the things that I've heard you say, not only is it the better I feel about myself, but it's like, you know what? Instead of buying into the negativity that the world wants to feed us, I'm sold on the positivity. You know what I mean? And I want to run with that on a daily basis as my sidekick versus all the negative in life. And there's too many people in life that are running with their negativity as their sidekick when we got a lot to be positive about. So, like I said, mine is the cult leader, so that anyone that follows me kind of understands what I'm talking about. Mike's is 4 a.m. And explain to me where that came from, what that is, and then you can talk about what we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. So in my opinion, I want your thoughts on this too. I think bodybuilding in terms of time and money is a net positive. And let me explain that. Take it back 5-6 years. Think back when you were younger, right? You have every hour in the day to work out, or you have every hour in the day to physically go to work and make money. I was a hustler. I wanted to make as much as possible. And at the time, I always thought to myself, man, I have to take 2 hours to go train. I got to prep my food. I got to eat. I got to spend money on these supplements and this food and actually prep it. Most people would say, well, that's a cost. That's 2 hours. You can't grow your business. And now you have to spend time prepping food, and you have to step away from opportunities to grow your business, to eat your food, make sure you get enough rest, all that good stuff. Looking back at it 5 years later, 10 years later, however long it's been, it's a net positive. And by that, what I mean is the money invested in bodybuilding and the time invested has repaid itself with the structure and discipline that I've acquired.
Right.
Basically, I spend 2 hours lifting weights to develop a discipline and mindset that makes me so much more efficient and effective every other hour of the day.
Agreed.
I'm better with a little bit less time than the person who has all day to work. I can step away for 2 hours, get a workout, come back, and start kicking butt again, and still finish the day well beyond that. I can structure my business like a bodybuilding training regimen, like a diet, and see progressive growth over time. I know how to measure. I do weekly check-ins with my business. How are my numbers looking? How is the morale? I'm going to reach out to my guests. Just like you text me every Sunday and say, hey, how's things going? I check in with my guests.
Right.
Had I not applied the bodybuilding disciplines to my business, that wouldn't have happened. So a lot of people that are looking at, I was a college athlete. I played college football. That was taken from me. Like most athletes, there comes a day when you're told you're not good enough anymore. Whether it's high school, college, the people that play pro for a little bit, father time catches up with everybody. And that was a void in my life. And I was at a crossroads where I really wanted to keep my training, because that was my identity. I was always the athlete.
Right.
And I didn't want to be the white collar guy. I wanted to hold on to that.
Right.
And for those that are a little bit younger, you can absolutely do both. And the best part about it is the people that take their training, and I'm going to expand it past bodybuilding for just a second. I know people that fight, jiu-jitsu, mixed martial arts. I know people that are big into CrossFit. Every one of them that takes it to the level I take it is successful in their business.
What level do you take it to?
As high as I can. There is no limit. It's just how much you want to push it. And 4M is just that. 4 a.m., believe it or not, is a real time every day. Most people are probably not aware of that. It's a couple hours before you wake up. Several hours. And that's when I train, because I expect my clients to essentially uphold our agreement. When I make a deal with somebody, I expect them to uphold what they promise me, but the only way I can expect that is if I promise them my full amount in return. Right. So during the business day, I'm available for them. I'm handling their problems, I'm growing their concerns, I'm supporting my team so that they can give me their all. The only time that I can train is before the day starts.
Before anyone else starts.
The gym's empty, there's no weights for the machines, and for those of you that are early morning people, you might get that. I know you stay up late,
yeah,
and that's your time.
Yeah.
The world stops.
Yeah.
No one's calling, no one's stopping by. You can just zone out and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So you finish the day with that.
Yeah, my 4 a.m. is 11:30.
I wake up and the world's mine.
Yeah.
I literally wake up every day thinking I have a cheat code.
That's something, before we go any further, I had a note earlier, and that, I've got a couple, but I thought about this the other night when I was thinking about what I was going to ask you, and like I said, your 4 a.m. is most people's, is that your 4 a.m. is after most people have got up, got a shower, and had coffee, because nobody really starts their day until they've had their coffee, right? What I'm saying is they're most people, I think the whole persona of society is like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee. Like, I can't do anything in this world before I've had my coffee.
Right.
And my question was, what time of day do your best thoughts come from? Is that at 4 a.m.? I know you have a...
There's a clear right answer here. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
And just to put it like this, if you wake up early, and I would challenge everyone, just get up at 4. Like, just physically open your eyes, stand out of bed, prove yourself you can do it. If you just want to go walk to the fridge and touch it, or touch the front doorknob just to get moving a little bit, do something. Fold one t-shirt and put it away. Like, do something productive that early. Show yourself you can do it. I swear, no matter what happens the rest of the day, like, you got that chip in your shoulder.
Yeah.
You got the first win.
Right.
You're playing a sporting event. Like, you got the first win. You're ahead of everybody. You're a big, like, NASCAR guy, right? You're in pole position.
Right.
You start every day in freaking pole position.
Yeah.
There's a reason they qualify.
Absolutely.
There's a reason people go. There's a reason they push the car to the limit to get that pole position. It's a whole lot easier to start the day in pole than all the way in the back.
Man.
Because guess what? When you're in back, not only are you behind from a distance standpoint, but what's in the way between you and first? A whole lot of other people.
Yep.
When you start in first and you don't slow down, who's going to catch you?
I agree.
There's no one stopping you.
I think that whether it be 4 a.m. and that's what I always say, like at 11:30 at night, when I know my mind's like, dude, you need to turn off. You need to go to bed, because your child's going to get up at 6:30, and so whatever the situation may be is. But there's some nights where I'm working and it's 11:30, and I swear before I look up it's 1:30. You know what I mean? And then it's like. And it's like, fuck, it's way later than I wanted to go to sleep anyway, but it's like, I know I can't stop right now, because things are just, it seems like things are coming together that you would have never thought come together, if that makes sense. And so, even though my 4:30 or 4 is not 4 a.m., I think that we don't go home and think, I'm going to sit on the couch and we don't even, that TV, we haven't had TV since we've lived out here. Like, don't get me wrong, I have YouTube and I've got my computer, but there's never an hour in my day where I'm just sitting back and I'm like, let's just relax and let's just watch something stupid, because it's going to make me laugh and it's going to take my mind off of everything. Like, I enjoy when my mind is on everything.
Absolutely.
I
got a question for you. Are you a creator or a consumer? Consumers watch TV, creators make TV.
Exactly.
If you're on social media, are you consuming other people's content, or are you creating something that's going to be contagious?
Well, I'm definitely creating, and the thing is, you have to consume to know how to create. But at the same time, I do more of the creating than the consuming because what I'm trying to create, no one else is doing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to do something that no one else is doing. Yeah, don't get me wrong. It may look like a spin-off of something else, but in my mind, it's more pure and you're getting it straight from the heart versus something that's been thought out. And don't get me wrong, like the person that thinks it out sometimes, might have it figured out. But I just like you said, that chip on my shoulder. I like to have that chip on my shoulder knowing I'm going into the unknown and I'm going to figure it out. So, but, we could talk about all kinds of things like that. Just being contagious. I think that, to put it into minimal terms, and we'll use the gym. You said that your gym time and training and bodybuilding is paid for itself.
Absolutely.
Right? And I believe the same thing, even though we're still investing in it. I'm still going and buying chicken. I'm still buying supplements because what that's brought to my life and the quality of my life and the way people think of me and treat me, I want that. I know that if I stopped doing all those things, the quality of my life would go down too.
Absolutely.
Not only do I think that the quality of my life is better, but I think that on a head-on collision of problems, people are going to approach me looking the way that I do, and I'm not saying that's good or bad, but they're gonna treat me with a totally different level of respect than just someone. I'm not gonna say average, but someone that you can tell by looking at them that their fitness and their health and the way that they use the gym. It's totally different. And so I think that when someone looks at me, they look at that as that's hard work. I'm going to respect him. I'm going to respect him more per se from face value than I would someone else.
When you meet someone for the first time, before any words are spoken, before any handshakes are delivered, how someone carries himself, that's physical health, how they dress, their posture, all that stuff, the nonverbal cues, how confident they appear, that says a lot about somebody.
Absolutely.
I don't care how intelligent you are. I don't care anything. We've all engaged with somebody who's looked the part, and we've all engaged with someone who didn't have the highest level of self-respect for their appearance. And that's an easy way to get ahead in anything, whether it's a job interview, whether it's a first or second date. Human relationships, interpersonal relationships, is the best way for you to grow a business quickly. When I was younger, I was very transactional, right? Every transaction is a dollar figure. More nights, more rooms, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to clean everything. I'm going to sell everything. But every time you make it, it's one transaction. You want to make 1,000 transactions? Do you have to do 1,000 transactions?
Yep.
Right? At some point, even at 4 a.m., you run out of time.
Yep.
There's only so many hours in the day. So you can do things to maximize your time. But if you're in a transactional mindset,
Yep.
you're going to get beat because other people are relationship building. So that would be the opposite side, from transactions to building a relationship. So if I can be contagious to 2 employees, right, and they respect my structure, my protocol, how I carry myself, if they believe in what I'm saying, if I'm true to them, if I promise them, hey, you work hard, I'll get you a bonus, and I deliver on that, if I have full buy-in, now I have 3 people building transactions.
Well, I always say for every person, there's 2.
Absolutely.
So,
But that's where, in terms of bodybuilding, when I said earlier, it's a net positive for time.
yeah.
Those are things you'll never quantify that.
And for the people, I know there's going to be a lot of bodybuilders on here that do listen. What I know we're talking in kind of lingos and things, but what he's getting at is if you treat every second, I'm talking about the serious hardcore bodybuilders that are watching this show right now. You micromanage and micro consider every training session, every ounce of water, supplement, food, energy that you expend through the day, trips that you're going to leave the house. You're micromanaging in that. You're thinking of that, right? And all you're thinking about is bodybuilding, okay? But once you've got it down to a science and you're just living through repetitions of doing that, then you can micromanage all the other time in your day, which can then, it's like I was telling Mike earlier, if I'm only thinking bodybuilding, my view is about this wide, right? But when I'm going off repetition, things that I've practiced, things that are ingrained into my system, and I do those second nature and don't even think about it, right? So now that I've been doing this for so long, and it's never a question. I don't think about, would I like a little bit of parsley on my food, or would I like a little extra rice? It's like, no, you're supposed to get 200 grams, eat 200 grams, go about your day, right? So now I know all these things. 6 meals, right? So 6 meals, and then I know what my training's supposed to be because that's built in. You go from there. So now my view has widened. You can put a Rolex on a redneck. You can put some inches on your big black Chevy.